Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us. While we let a few more of our colleagues in, Akin is letting them in as we speak. Perhaps you'd like to jump into the chat and introduce yourself, where you're joining us from, if you're here for the first time or if you're a full member. Do please let us know in the chat. It's lovely to see who's here. You've all been rather rudely muted on entry. I apologize for that, but do please remain on mute until a bit later, and obviously when we're in our breakout rooms. And do please put your camera on, unless, we always say this, unless you're on the beach or in your pajamas still, please do put your camera on, because it's much more effective and meaningful if we do that, and you rather do need to do that for the breakout room sessions that we do. So welcome everybody. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Mark Walmsley and I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. It's exciting times, a bit of news on the LinkedIn group front. We're on the program with LinkedIn to pilot the concept. People both on and off LinkedIn will be able to see our posts in our group. They'll also be able to react to them. But if they'd like to comment or post, they need to join the group. So we're thinking that might be a bit of a boost to the membership of the group. We've just tipped over 22,500 members in the LinkedIn group. So if you haven't popped in to have a look, do please have a look. Arts and Culture Network there. And yeah, so that's likely to boost our membership quite significantly. We're currently attracting over 150 new members to the LinkedIn group every day, which is very exciting. That puts us on target to be about 40 or 50,000 as a community by the end of the year, which would be fantastic. So a few tips. If you haven't joined us before, this is kind of how it works. It's fast, it's fast-paced, it's fun, it's very friendly, and it's really effective at starting those conversations with new contacts. So do please make the most of it. What we'll do is, in the breakout sessions, we pair up at random for 5 minutes. You get a chance to say hello. It's not a pitch fest, I'm afraid. It's just hello, tell me a little bit about you, and then you can then arrange to have a further conversation afterwards. We use the chat with a code. If there's somebody you hear from or meet who you'd like to follow up with, pop the word meeting in capitals in the chat, followed by their name, and do the same if you have a referral for somebody, which would be great as well. Those details will then be on the website after our meeting, probably early next week. Any other news? Yes, forthcoming events. On the 18th of May, we're doing our second event for the Americas. We did the first one on the evening of the 20th of April, UK time. That was lunchtime in New York and breakfast time in LA, and that was great. So we now have an opportunity to interact across the pond. So if you'd like to join that, you're very welcome. That'll be at 6 o'clock on the 18th of May. And then on the 1st of June, we've got Manuela Marin joining us to do the 10-minute TED Talk. She's going to tell us 5 things that we probably don't know about music. I've had a conversation with her and it's fascinating. So that's absolutely worth it. I'll be popping all these details in the chat so you can grab them. And of course, it's all on the website. Anything else I need to tell you? Don't think so. Oh, if you're a full member of the gang, a paid up subscriber, do please raise a hand, because we're going to do a few very brief 30-second intros to some of the members that we have in the gang. So do please do that. And if you've just joined us comparatively recently, do please pop your contact details in the chat. Right, that's enough from me. Have we got some hands up? Yes, we've got Robin. Robin, would you like to do literally 30 seconds, please?
Literally 30 seconds. The Maestro Online, a platform where you learn via your ear first musically, and you improvise, and no two learners should ever sound the same. And we've got celebrity masterclasses from people who've toured with people like Madonna, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, all that kind of thing. We'd love to have more members, but we'd also love to have other people who you may know who could create masterclasses with me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Robin. Nadia, hello. Good to see you. We managed to sort out.
Yes.
I'm going to show you up now, I'm afraid. Nadia turned up at 1 o'clock yesterday for this meeting. So
I hadn't slept actually. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't sleep enough. Twice in 1 week, I got probably 3 hours each night. So it's really bad for the brain.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't know which day I was in. But yes, I'm a marketing specialist. So I've basically been doing marketing planning and marketing strategy for a technology company throughout most of my career. And I'm at the moment in transition because I really want to move more into communications and media with artistic people, because that's where I really find I get more energy. So that's me.
That's great, Nadia. Thank you very much. Now, I'm very excited to invite Louisa to say hello, because she became a full member about half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us as a full member, Louisa.
It's a pleasure. I hope I'm your newest new full member.
You are.
So I run Ilona Design, and we help creative businesses launch and scale with a end-to-end solution of graphic design, marketing, and copywriting.
That's brilliant.
Polymathic,
Is that a word? Polymathic, it ought to be for you, because there are very few people who are brilliant at design and brilliant at writing, which can be really, really useful. And Louisa is that. So do connect with Louisa if you get the chance. Mats, hello, good to see you.
Hi. Hello all. So my name is Mats. I'm a former ballet dancer and artistic director of English National Ballet. I'm now working with dance professionals, dancers, choreographers, teachers, artistic directors, helping them to have more successful and satisfying careers through better career planning and development. So that's what I'm doing, working with a lot of arts people, particularly with dancers.
That's great, Mats. Thank you very much. Who else do we have who's a full paid up member, if you've got a hand up? Joey, I think you should probably say hello. You haven't put your hand up. Is that because you can't find the button? You can always put a real hand up if you wish.
No, because both hands are on my cup of coffee. That's why.
Okay, good to see you, Joe. Oh, by the way, Joey and I recorded a Hot Top 10 recently, and it's on the blog on the website. It's great. So do have a look at that. Meet the member.
Hi, I'm Joey Barron. I am in Western Massachusetts in a town called Northampton. It's home to 5 colleges and God knows how many farms. It's a really interesting place, a hippie town. And I do creative branding and communication strategies for primarily arts organizations and nonprofits. And I've been a part of this for a while, and I always have it's always great to meet really interesting people. So thanks for being interesting.
Thank you very much, Joe. Yeah, I think you were our first paying member, which is fantastic. Great. Richard B. Hello, Richard. How are you?
I'm good. I'm busy looking at the Academy of Live Technology, which is a higher education institute at Production Park, where all of the rock stars come to rehearse for performances and everything. And they've just launched the Higher Education Institute has changed its name, and they've relaunched it. So all this business around looking at the website and seeing what the Wizzy people have done with the new website. It's very exciting. I'll put it in the chat. You can have a look. If you know anybody that's looking to study the skills to work on music festivals and TV sets and everything, it's a great place to go.
Great. Thank you, Richard. If you wouldn't mind putting your hand down if you've said hello. Jonathan, good to see you. Would you like to say hi?
Sure, thanks, Mark. Yeah, Jonathan Duff. We've had a good session with Mark on branding. So this may sound slightly scripted or doctored a la Mark. So I've got over 20 years experience, brackets a little bit more, in marketing communications, content led, and I'm a ghostwriter for aspiring architects and business leaders who want to raise their market eminence. So, and it also takes me into the culture and creative industries broadly. So that's it.
Great, excellent. Who else can I see? Who am I missing? There we go. And any other members with full members with hands up? Don, you really ought to say hello.
Hi, I'm Don Youngberg from New Haven, Connecticut, United States, and I work in putting together communities of arts and culture people. So meeting up with Mark well over a year ago now, it's been great, and helping him and working towards getting more North American members into the fold. But enjoying that. I'm a freelance consultant doing a variety of software and community work.
Great. Excellent. It's lovely to have you here. So thank you if you're a full member. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for coming back if you're a returning visitor, which is fantastic. And a very warm welcome if this is your first time with us. It's a fun gang. We meet like this on the first Thursday of every month for those in Europe, although we do have very welcome guests from further afield who don't mind getting up a little earlier than we do. And then the third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. UK is the one that we do for our colleagues over the pond. And at some point in the next year, we'll start doing them in Sydney as well, because I keep getting messages from members of the LinkedIn group saying I'm not getting up, I'm not staying up that late. There was a lovely comment we had from Alan Harrison, who was on our US networking event a couple of weeks ago. I think he said, Joe, you'll remember, and Don, I think he said there are 2 5 o'clocks and I only know one of them. And so he said that's why he wasn't going to be coming to the US, to the UK ones. So, okay, let's have a quick round of breakout rooms. So just as a reminder, you'll see a pop-up. It'll send you to a room where there'll be one other person. Please just say hi, introduce yourself, start the process of getting to know, like, and trust somebody. Look out for opportunities to make referrals for that person. Share the time equally if you wouldn't mind. Tell a few gags, perhaps mention something that nobody knows about you. I've just started flying drones as a hobby. That's me, done. And you'll get a little warning when there's 60 seconds to go. And then we'll all automatically be brought back here. And then we'll do it again. And it works really, really well. Scribble, make notes, pop messages in the chat. Works really well. Before we go, I just wanted to very warmly welcome Lauren Gildersleeve, who's here with us today and waving. Lauren is doing our TAD talk at about 1:30. The TAD talk is TAD because it's small, it's only 10 minutes, it's all the best bits, and then you can follow up with Lauren for more later. We also have Q&A with Lauren in the after party, should you wish to linger beyond 2 o'clock for the after party. TAD also stands for the arts debate, rather clever, I thought, and it's a blatant rip-off of TED, obviously. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Lauren. She's going to talk to us and provide us with some top tips for great PR and communications in the arts and culture sector. So that's great. So buckle up. Here we go. Let's open the breakout rooms. I was terrified that this isn't going to work for some reason. There we go. Breakout rooms, right. We should be in pairs. Oh, by the way, if you find yourself on your own in a breakout room for any length of time, do sit tight, because I move people around if they're not there. So don't worry if that's the case. We've got an even number, sort of even number. So there we go. Right, so I'm going to create the rooms, and I'll open all the rooms, and I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Hi, David.
So, fess up. Was it your drone that hit Moscow, Mark?
No, it wasn't my drone that hit Moscow.
Oh, glad to hear that.
My wife, I just had my 60th birthday, and my wife's very kindly bought me a foolproof drone. It's foolproof, and it's about the size of an egg box. It won't land on water, and we live by the water, so that's quite handy. It comes back to where it took off if it gets low on power, which I thought was very clever. And it's got collision avoidance, which is even better. So I'm trying to break it as we speak. So it's great fun. I'm loving it. It's really good. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that was useful and quick. We're going to do some more, but as we work our way through, welcome back, welcome back. If anyone's got a bit of exciting news they'd like to share, just pop a hand up. We tend to do that a lot in the after party, so by all means let me know if there's something that you'd like to share with us. Now we're doing this again. Now, of course, the gods of randomization sometimes get it wrong, so there is a slim chance you might meet the same person again, but that's a great opportunity to pick up from where you left off before I rudely interrupted you. So we'll try and we'll go around again. One of the things I should explain, when somebody becomes a full member, I do an video interview that we then publish on the LinkedIn group. And one of the things we do is the Arts and Culture Hot Top 10. So I might pick on somebody, and we'll do that live today if we've got time. I'll ask you your favorite in 10 categories across the arts and culture sector. It's probably not a good idea, because then if you were to become a full member, they would not come as a surprise when we recorded it, but we'll see. Right, so I'm going to recreate the rooms. And there we go, fewer rooms, I think, excuse me. Right, there might be a group of 3 now, because I think we've got one more with us. So I've recreated those. Apologies if you meet the same person, but make the most of it, and we'll see you back here in 5. So,
Okay.
Great.
No heard of them.
Thanks, Donny. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I've just been having a lovely chat with Donny. Donny's in Nigeria, a musician. If you get a chance to meet him, ask him to send you a link to something of his on YouTube. We've just been talking about the Bundu Boys in Zimbabwe. Excellent. Were there any double ups? I know Joey and Donny were doubled up, I think, but otherwise we didn't have any duplications. Excellent. Well, that worked. Brilliant. So it's now 1:30. Where did that go? And I think we'll do our TAD talk now. So I'm delighted to introduce Lauren to everybody. I hope she's still here, is she?
I am, I'm here.
There we go.
Hi.
That would have been hilarious, wouldn't it? Suddenly find that I'm doing the talk. Great, excellent. So Lauren is a full member of our gang and is a freelance arts, culture and science communications specialist with a background pretty much running the show in PR at BBC Arts and BBC4. And Lauren's very kindly put together a little presentation for 10 minutes to give us some top tips on making sure that we're making the most of opportunities in public relations and communications across the arts and culture sector. So I'm really looking forward to this. Akin, I've started recording at the beginning, so we're covered. Brilliant, I can edit it out. By the way, we are recording. We're not recording the breakout rooms, obviously. If for any reason you'd rather not be in our videos, do please let me know by email. But otherwise, the only place this will go is onto the website, because we have allowed those who can't join us live, especially in the States and in Australia, we're giving those members an opportunity to watch back as if they were here and watch the TAD talk on demand afterwards. So that's why we sometimes get more registrations than we get live, but live is best. Excellent. So Lauren, would you like to try and share your screen?
I will, yep, see if that works. So that should be, you can let me know, Mark, if you can.
It's not full screen yet, but so if you we can see it, but we can see your workings.
There we go. Is that
Perfect.
better?
Can everybody
Great.
see that? I've seen a thumb up, which is great.
Brilliant.
Lauren, thank you so much for doing this. I'm excited for this. 10 minutes, if you can, would be
10 minutes,
fantastic.
fine.
And all yours.
Great, thank you so much, Mark. Hi everyone, hope you can all hear me okay. So I'm going to run through a really quick presentation on some PR tips. I'll just talk about a bit about my background. For those of you that don't know much about PR, a bit of a definition. I saw that some of you are in PR, so you can ignore that bit. And then I'll just do quick 5 tips. And then as Mark said, I can take questions at the end as well. So a bit about me is I graduated quite a while ago now in history and history of art. I knew I wanted to work in the arts, and I sort of fell into PR, working for a small photography gallery and PR agency, working people like Rankin and David Bailey, and then moving on to lots more galleries, artists, film festivals. So I kind of cut my teeth in an agency, which was quite a busy environment. And then I moved into the Science Museum, where I was senior press officer. I looked after retail there. I looked after the exhibitions from the Wellcome Trust. And then I also ran the media for their kind of art. It was like an adults centre where you'd have lots of events about science topics. So a Café Scientifique. After that, I spent about the main part of my career, really, over about a decade, was at the BBC, where I worked mainly in the arts team as well as science. So I ended up managing publicists across predominantly TV content, so documentaries, in history, art, science, lots of nerdy stuff, as well as doing a little bit of stint in BBC Children's and BBC Films. Then I've since then had 3 children and decided to freelance. So I now do sort of the odd bit of freelancing for different clients across my weeks, as well as childcare as well. So that's a bit of my background. But I'm going to talk about really, firstly, what is PR? So as you can see from this quote, it really is just key to every kind of organisation, your big corporates, down to smaller arts organisations, individuals. How you present yourself to the public is really key and of great value. For those of you that don't have a PR background, I found this CIPR definition. So the CIPR are the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, and they are sort of the only kind of body that's like a professional body for PR globally. And as you can see, they've defined it here as the planned and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill and mutual understanding between an organisation and its public. So really, it's talking about PR being all about relationship building, how to create a favourable image, a positive image to support reputation. And it does work in tandem with marketing, but the main difference is that you don't pay for exposure. You earn support and influence, and that can involve working with broadcasters, TV, radio, print, media, online, and also more regularly nowadays, influencers, bloggers, because they do hold sway, so they are important. And your public audience can be your customers, your employees, stakeholders, government. So it can range from different things. This photo here, actually, I've got a few photos throughout. This is Sir Paul Nurse, who is the head of the Francis Crick Institute in London, where I work freelancing. He's a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, and this was an exhibition launch I did, one of their exhibitions, about the people that work behind the scenes at the Crick. So not the scientists, but people that do things like wash the glasses, run animal testing, fix stuff. So all the really important people who support the scientists. And actually, he used this opportunity, the exhibition launch, as a springboard to talk about Brexit and how it was affecting these teams and the scientists coming in to work at this science institute to do research on human disease. And actually, we got lots of journalists there because we used an arts exhibition or a sort of science arts exhibition to talk about a bigger issue, Brexit at the time. So going on to my top 5 tips, which I will whiz through quite quickly because I'm mindful of time. Number one, knowing your audience. So firstly, defining who is it you're talking to? You know, if you're an artist, who do you want to buy your work? If you're a theatre or a gallery, who do you want to walk in the door? So who are they and where do they get their information from? So are they an older audience listening to Radio 4, reading Saga magazine, or are they you trying to attract younger people in? Are they on social media, TikTok? Are they listening to Radio 1? And what makes an interesting story to them? So if you really think about who you're talking to, if you just sort of send medium out, you know, messages out to everybody, you're just not going to get any interest. You have to be strategic and target your message who you think will be interested in your work or your institution. Tip number 2, build strong media relationships. So I have developed sort of my own media database over, you know, decades, which is like a few thousand people that I've worked, you know, I haven't worked with them all, but I know lots of people. It's my personal sort of database. But you can also do that yourself by researching, you know, where you want to see yourself, your organization. So identifying those key players, you know, reading the media. So if you think you should be in the Observer magazine, you know, open it, look in it, who's writing, who's commissioning, and know them. And if you really feel that your place is in a specific media, you have to know who the journalist is you should speak to and what they're interested in. It's no good sort of blasting messages out to everyone. You have to be strategic and have knowledge of what you're trying to say and when you should speak to somebody. So you could have a news journalist who's writing, you know, 48 hours in advance, a day in advance, to someone on a monthly magazine who is writing 3-4 months out. So it's really kind of categorizing your journalists and knowing who they are and where they're writing and what they're interested in. Number 3, so creating compelling content. So you have to have something interesting to say, or really you shouldn't be saying it to the media because they're busy and they don't want to hear from the millions of PR people that are out there working. So you can contact them or using your own channels of social media, using press releases, blog posts, infographics, social media. You might have spokespeople that have something really interesting to say. I just spoke to Matt Skuggen, who's the dancer. He sounds so interesting. He would be an amazing spokesperson for an organisation relating to dance because of his background and history. I'll just talk you through this image, actually, which is quite a fun one. I don't know if anyone's seen this. It was in quite a lot of newspapers last year. So this is actually Freddie Mercury's childhood stamp album. So I work with the Postal Museum as well, and we displayed his childhood stamp album last year to mark the 50th anniversary of Pride. So this image is a really bog standard museum type image where you've got the gloved hands looking at something interesting. It's not, you know, it's not a bad image, it's not the best, but it was a really interesting story. People hadn't seen his stamp album. People didn't know that Freddie Mercury was into stamps as a kid in Zanzibar. So again, this image was really lovely. I gave it to as an exclusive to a Sunday paper with the story that we were going to be showing this stamp album from the archives. And then they ran a beautiful piece. And then I managed to get the story placed the next day in loads of other papers through Newswise, who syndicate stories to different publications. So, you know, a newspaper might buy the services of PA News and they will sell them the stories. So I got really nice coverage for a sort of quite a standard image, but the whole story, the whole package of the spokespeople, the image and the kind of new nature made it a really strong, compelling story for people to read about. And then I wanted to show you this image because it's really gorgeous. It's from the Francis Crick Institute, and it's actually a huge installation for an exhibition on cancer. And I commissioned a photographer to come in and take this image. She used to work for PA Newswire, and she used to be a royal photographer, worked with the royal family. And this was actually images of cancer cells that are being, scientists are actually studying them in these sort of patterns. And it was we used it loads in lots of different magazines and formats. It's really bright and colourful. So again, you can create by commissioning. I paid for a photographer to take this photo and I used it in lots of different media. So it was like a really nice way. And it shows the importance of images when you're doing PR. So on to my next tip. be responsive. In this day and age, social media is 24/7. So it's really important to be responsive. You can't really ignore your audience because they are there communicating via your social media channels. So it is a two-way conversation. It's no longer just telling people stuff. Social media can be a really good tool because one of the important elements of PR, so I know, for example, there's the lady Nadia who is in marketing that wants to move across. It's not just promoting positive messages, but at the BBC, I did a lot of reputation management. So you'd have crises, stories you don't want happening, and you have to manage them. So social media can be a really valuable tool. It allows people like the BBC to put a statement out about something directly to their audiences with no sort of analysis or comment or disagreement. So it can be really valuable, but obviously it can be a thorn because people can comment on social media. So, but you don't have a choice. If you're an organisation engaging with your public, it is a two-way dialogue now. And then my last point is to assess your impact. So celebrate successes. People have different views of PR. Some people think it's maybe doesn't take much work, but it can take a long time to find the right journalists, create a story with them, something they're interested in, getting them to speak to different people, commissioning photos, uncovering things, pulling together a story. So you've got to celebrate those successes and you've got to look at whether it's working. So, if you have to change what you're doing, you might need to, you can't keep pushing out stories to journalists that they're never going to pick up on. You have to be able to adapt, and you need to measure successes. So, if you're working as a freelancer for, an organisation, you have to look at what you've achieved and if it's offering them value. So that is my last point. So really, that is a quick run through. I will be around afterwards for questions, and obviously this will be up online as well. But that's my quick 10 minutes on PR for you, Mark.
Lauren, thank you so much.
No worries.
That's really great. I love the fact that when we do our 10-minute TAD talks, we manage to squeeze in so many gems into such a small amount of time. You're like a walking version of Blinkist. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
No worries.
There's a ripple of applause running around the world for you. Thank you so much. That's great. Yes, I'm sure people might have a few questions that they'd like to ask you. I've got a few, but what we probably need to do is save those for the after party, if that's all right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Lauren. No doubt your presentation will form part of my summary that we'll put on the website afterwards. And Lauren, I hope you've put your contact details in the chat there.
I will do, yeah.
To, post a little bit about forthcoming events. There we go, in the chat as well. If you've got any news or events that you'd like to put in the chat, do please pop them in there. Right, this hour goes so quickly, it's ridiculous. I think we'll do another round of random because we're approaching the hour. I think we might do a 3 or a 4, which will mean you'll have a chance to just say hello to more people. So I'm going to do another round of breakout rooms, but we'll now do slightly larger groups, and I'll give you slightly longer. But do please, we're going to do 3s and 4s. There we go. Do please share the time equally. There is, of course, a chance you'll meet somebody again now, but I think it's also an opportunity to see if we can say hello to as many people as possible. So there we go. If you get stuck on your own, do please stay put and I'll move you. Okay, so buckle up and we'll see you back here in 5-ish. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. How did that work? Would anyone like to jump off mute and give some feedback on that? I actually need somebody to do that because that's what triggers my bass speaker on my desk here. So
it was really good. It was really good. It was though in the irony, from the irony department, in the 3 groups, Donnie and I have been matched together in all 3 groups. So it's been really interesting.
Brilliant.
But you should all go listen to his song. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The link is in the chat. I've been browsing through the chat. There's lots to talk about in the after party, I can tell you, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. Some of you will know when we do the arts and culture hot top 10, we rattle through 10 categories and I put people on the spot to choose their favorite in each category. I'm going to try go around the room and do one each, and we'll just see how far we get. So if you could all come off mute, please, unless you've got lots of construction work going behind you. I'll buzz around the room. I'll probably focus on the people who haven't done this, with apologies to those who have. But the videos are gradually working their way onto the website. So quickly as you can, I'll come to you and I'll ask you for a favorite in a certain category in the arts and culture sector. It's fun. Don't worry if you're tongue-tied. We'll move on. You could say pass, right? Okay. So I'm going to come to David Thomas first. David, what's your favorite building?
Jethro Drury Lane, built 1663, and the
Yep, sorry, go on. Yep.
Sorry. In pretty much continuous use, although burnt down 3 times, and the latest building is 1812. But the stories, how the story of Drury Lane is the story of England. That's my favourite building.
Love it. Lauren, your favourite book, please.
Favourite book? I'm reading one called The Poet at the moment by Louisa Reed, and it's a woman who is a poet, and the whole story is told in one long form poem. And it's a sort of difficult relationship of a professor and his sort of lover from her point of view. And it's amazing to read one novel as in a poem, basically.
Brilliant.
It's great. It's really unusual. So
thank you.
My current favourite.
Excellent. Cameron, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Cameron, I should point out, has been to more of these meetings than any other single person. You were at the first one that we did, the pilot, which was...
Well, that was just me, in fact, that first one.
It was only you. No, I'm pretty sure we had about 16 people on that one. But so I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite dancer or dance group?
No.
Okay, we'll come. I'll make you in a minute.
Total blank.
Okay, it happens, and it happens on camera sometimes, which is...
I can do dance group if you want.
Go on then, Richard.
Yeah, I just saw Chicken Shed on Britain's Got Talent last week. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. A super inclusive dance group based in London. And everyone was in bits when they performed. It was absolutely fabulous. Check them out. If you Google Chicken Shed, Britain's Got Talent, you'll see.
That was brilliant. Please tell me they're a client.
I wish they were. They're too big for me, I think.
Jerry, can I come to you, Jerry? I don't think your camera's on. We'll come back to you. Oh, disappeared. This is a really good way to get clear in the room, isn't it? Louisa, do you have what if you had to live in a different country from the one you're living in for reasons of culture, what would it be?
Culture. That's a good question, isn't it? Let's go with Holland. I like the culture in Holland. Yeah.
Where, sorry?
Holland.
Holland, okay. Cool. Love that.
Love their way of life, and lovely people, history, architecture, beautiful, stunning. Yeah, love it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Louisa. Lynn, favourite sport?
Which Lynn?
Lynn W.
Oh, favourite sport? Oh, I'm not very sporty, but I do like to watch the figure skating and the Winter Olympics.
Nice. Love that. Thank you. Who will this one be for? Ooh. Kilner.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you again.
You too, Mark. It's lovely to see you.
If you had to choose one musical genre, what would it be?
Oh God, I'm so bad with everyone hates my taste in music. I'm just gonna go with pop because it's upbeat, you know, happy to dance to. I love it.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Love it. We're not going to get one round for everyone unless you can think of other categories we can go on to. That would be brilliant. By the way, it's 2:00. If you've got a 2:00 meeting, you're already late. If you can stay, please do. If you have to slide off, thank you so much for coming. Please come next time, and please consider joining us. David's saluting. Thanks, David. I'd like to come to Ian, please. Ian, your favorite visual artist?
Oh, favorite visual artist. Don't know. Probably go with Gilbert and George, to be quite honest.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Bye, Mats. Mats has got to go. Right. Who shall we ask now? I'm going to come to Nadia. Are you hearing us, Nadia?
Hello. Yes, I'm unmuted. Yes.
Oh, we've got two Nadias. Nadia, your favorite play or musical?
Musical. Mamma Mia, I'd say.
Okay.
That's stuck in my mind for being so upbeat, but
yeah, love
that
that.
was a musical, wasn't it?
Yes. Has anyone seen the virtual ABBA show?
No.
No.
No, not yet.
We'll wait for the ticket prices to come down a bit, shall we? Apparently that venue is completely portable. They're going to ship it up to
that's clever. Very clever.
take it to Manchester. Who hasn't had a go and wants to go? Where are we? Hands up, please. Jonathan. I'm running out of categories. We've done this before, but do you remember what your favorite film was?
Oh yeah, Casablanca.
Yes, it was. See, class. There's class. There's Jonathan sitting there, maximizing people's market eminence in the wonderful surroundings of Barcelona, watching Casablanca. I can see it. I can really see it. It's brilliant.
Public library.
Donny's going to have to choose the Bundu boys because he and I have been chatting and he's waving goodbye. Good to see you, Donny. Take care.
Yeah.
Harry, can you hear us?
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. I gotta go right now.
Bye, Donny. Jerry, can you hear us?
Yes, of course.
There we go. What was the last thing that made you laugh? Apart from me.
Laugh? Just you. You, of course. I just laughed.
There we go. Spot on. Technically, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Love that. Who else? Canis. Who from the arts and culture world, living or dead, would you most like to have dinner with?
Wow. I would like to have dinner with Jimi Hendrix.
Oh,
that would be a great dinner.
That would be a fantastic dinner. Excellent.
The hors d'oeuvres would be very good too.
Who, sorry?
The hors d'oeuvres would be very good too.
Oh yeah, they would, wouldn't they? You'd certainly get the munchies by dinner time. Has anyone got a favorite museum that they love to go back to again and again and again? Akin?
The Science Museum. It's a classic.
I'm coming to you because somebody wanted to hear your voiceover voice again. So why do you like the Science Museum?
It's just how do I describe it? It's, even though it's science, to a young mind it looks like magic. It's really just out there, and it's really good for pushing just like ideas in people. But that's it. Yeah,
I think you've got a career in PR and copywriting as well. That response. It might be science, but it looks like magic. I love that. They could steal that. You wait, it'll be up on the side of the museum next week. Someone will tell them that, and you could have charged a fee. Brilliant. Okay, thanks for helping with that. Sorry if I didn't get to everybody, but that was really useful. But that's the fun we have when we do a one-to-one, and I'll have to come up with some more of those. So it's a lovely way of people who can't get to the meetings, or of getting to know you as a member, if they haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, because we're gradually working our way through to pop them onto the website and onto the LinkedIn group. So that's great. So this is the point at which we have the opportunity to ask Lauren some questions following her TED talk. If you'd like to do that, please raise a real or a virtual hand. We might want to go back on mute unless you're asking a question. So I'll mute everybody and then unmute Lauren. Sorry, where are we? I don't know where the mute all button's gone. Oh, never mind. We're not too noisy. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask Lauren? Akin has a question he'd like to ask.
Hi, Akin.
Hello, Lauren. I have a question. I'm not sure. Did you do a talk at the University of East London a few years ago?
Not in the last few years.
Or
no, I don't.
5 years?
No, well, I did one years and years ago. Like,
okay.
Like a film student. So that was a long time ago.
Cool.
Probably not me.
Partway through, I thought, yeah. Even.
Nadia A, you have a question.
Yes, my question is, you said earlier you need to have a strong connection with the journalists. And it's really interesting because even though I've been in marketing for over 15 years, I relied on agencies and their connections and internal PR teams. So I haven't directly got that, but I'm also wondering, is there a faster way than to be in front of those journalists, because everything's so virtual today that they can pick and choose, you know, certainly the strongest ones?
I think you can't really shortcut it, because if you go to some press launches and there's lots of people, they're there for a reason to write up a story. I mean, you can develop the relationships quite quickly if in a quicker way, if say you work for somebody and you have lots of good stories to give to one type of, you know, say you work for I don't know, you know, the Science Museum, then you're going to build up within a year really good science contacts, but you might only speak to news journalists every so often because you don't really have actual, like the Francis Crick does lots of research. So the science news teams will know the Crick really well for its research, but the Science Museum will know more the softer features or arts desk or science magazines a bit better. So you can't force it, but you can develop it. And if you're, you know, I work with institutions, so they will do some PR themselves and have those. So the Postal Museum knows a lot of the philately press, which is stamp collecting. And the Crick I work with know a lot of the science news, but I've bridged the gap in terms of the broader culture features, the you know, broadcast. So you can build it. So you could build your own if you're wanting to switch, but you do need the stories to go to. I don't think you can sort of force it in any other way, really.
I think it's best really then to link with people like you. So if ever you're in a situation where you're switching industry and then you know you want to reach certain contacts, is then to connect with your, you know, several individuals. Is that really the only other way?
Yes, although you have to decide on that relationship. So would you ask someone like me to contact them for you, in which case you're not building the relationship, or is it to support you? So I've done some like consulting, and I've helped organizations form who they should target, and then they've gone away and you can buy big databases that you subscribe to where you can search journalists up. So yeah, so there's different.
What I mean is more the introductions. So, you know, it's like an email, it's the same as in work. If you're then, that's what I'm wondering. Does that work? Oh,
but only if you've got something to say, because that's right. If I don't think just a sort of networking introduction would have much value to them. It would have to be, this is Nadia, she works for so she's got good stories about this. So if you need a talking head, or you've got stuff coming up in the future on a certain topic. So I think it has to be quite relevant to them. That's my view.
That's great. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Nadia and Lauren. Anyone else have a question for Lauren? I'd love to know the funniest story in PR history that you know, as in the, you know, when it's all gone horribly wrong. I'm not suggesting it was one of yours.
No.
But are you familiar with any significant faux pas that you can share?
I mean, there's lots of faux pas. So I mean, working at the BBC was at times like W1A, where you'd have big rooms full of people. So my cat keeps walking over the desk. You know, where rooms full of people trying to discuss a kind of initiative. And you know, you're not really introduced to anyone. There's sort of 15 people, and people are talking, and they're all quite, you know, there's a lot of intelligent people, but there's no basic, right, this is me and this is what I'm doing on this. You know, I've had stuff, you know, where one journalist turned up like years and years ago because it was a really difficult topic, and you have to kind of wing it, that, you know, it's more of a kind of one-to-one briefing. You know, you can have them all the time, and because it's a bit more pressured because of it's two journalists, so you don't really want to mess it up, because if you mess it up, you might have a really good journalist there. But there's a lot of crisis management at the BBC, so there's a lot of people working behind the scenes, probably like the NHS, government, all those big hefty organisations that do a lot of kind of firefighting, which is the trickier side of comms, where you sort of on call more. So, which is not some people love it, but it is a bit, you can be called up on a Friday at 4 o'clock and ask for a response for the Sunday papers, you know, by 10 a.m. the next day. So it can vary. I can't think of a funny story. I'll have to have a think about them.
I'll share it if you do. Richard, you have a hand up.
Yeah, so you mentioned databases. Are any of the databases worth buying?
Well, I literally I've never used one. So I worked for a PR agency. The guy that ran it was very anal. He sort of bought a sort of software management people relationship database, and we made our own. And then as I moved on, I sort of built my own. And the BBC weirdly didn't have a central, so it has a lot of publicists and PR people, but there wasn't one central database that people used. So people had their own lists, because, you know, you might work in entertainment working on Strictly, and I was working on science documentaries. So some of our contacts would cross over, like TV reviewers, but not all of them. I have had access to, so the Postal Museum use Cision, and I've had access to that, and I cross-reference. I think they're fine. The problem is if you don't know who, I think you're in PR, but some people, if they're not really specific about who they're contacting, are just sort of bombarding sort of the wrong, you know, you might be trying to speak to a science daily 3 months out when you really should be talking to, you know, BBC Focus magazine 3 months out. You have to be quite targeted and get them at the right time. So I think they are a good starting point, but then you can use things like LinkedIn's a good place, going to a shop and picking up the magazines and having a flick through and going, oh, that page is great. They've got a great music page on kind of, you know, concerts in London or, you know, Manchester or whatever. So I think you could use one temporarily, but I would always have your own personally. I just don't think it's worth.
Yeah, I think I do something like what you said, like harvesting contacts from all sorts of places, Twitter as well.
Twitter's great nowadays.
But I've always wondered, is it worth buying something? So
maybe if you're starting out, so someone like, if Nadia wanted to switch, it might be worth buying it for a year to play around with it, see the kinds of lists. But I just think sort of, you know, I've been to the library a few years ago where I just sat and read all the papers, because I just want to know what is the Sunday Times writing about at the moment and which sections are still there. Sometimes they, you know, it's changing all the time with cost cutting. And a section you think's there actually, you know, went 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, that guy's been made redundant and, you know, he's freelancing. So you have to keep yourself up to date, really. And I just think using your initiative, like you sort of implying, is probably better.
Yeah.
Like say, you could be in the industry like I've been in technology and IT, and now you want more of the arts and culture, and it's a totally different.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Lauren. The one thing that's occurred to me, and it was triggered by the picture of the stamps. A piece about Freddie Mercury is okay, great. A piece about stamps is okay in the right places, but a piece about stamps and Freddie Mercury suddenly becomes a different thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's got,
so all the separate, you know, the picture was fine, wasn't amazing. Stamps, are people interested in stamps? Freddie Mercury, we've all heard about Freddie Mercury, but like you say, it's the three together actually makes a story. So it's finding what's of interest and realizing that actually that is a news story for a journalist, but you can put news stories out in different ways. So you can send it to everybody if it's a really big story. So the BBC might announce, you know, who's presenting, you know, Eurovision might be a big story. They put it out to everybody, or you might have a story that actually is great, but give it to one person, they're going to do a better job on it. But it could be pulled. So it's all about hedging your bets, really.
Yeah. I think what you've very cleverly taught us in that single image is that if you can combine two things that create something a bit special. So for example, if I saw that there was a document, if I saw there was a news item on Keith Richards and his beekeeping hobby, right? Louisa's waving. See you, Louisa. Next time, I hope. I'd be interested. I'd be fascinated. I love that kind of it reminds me of a story. Stop me if I go on, and if you have to slide away, then that's fine. But I remember that they used to this kind of approach of bringing something unexpected in to try and free up the creativity. That Xerox once had a problem with their paper copiers paper feed jamming. And they were trying and trying and trying to solve this problem, and they couldn't. And some bright spark at Xerox got an ear, nose, and throat specialist to come in and talk to them about blocks. And they found out that, generally speaking, and my experience backs this up, yours might too, when you have a head cold, it's normally only one of your nasal passages that gets entirely blocked. I don't know if that rings bells. It certainly is the case with me. Apparently that's the case. It's rare for you to be completely and utterly blocked and having to breathe through your mouth. And what they took from that, so Xerox then introduced a second paper feed, so that if the first one blocked, the second one would still be able to run the paper through. But it came from a completely unexpected source, that solution. I love it when that happens. Brilliant. So anyway, thank you. Now, I just wanted to give Keonis and Jerry a chance to say hello if you'd like to. Am I right in thinking that this is your first time with us?
Yes, of course.
Keonis,
Yes.
We've all been here before.
Okay.
So we know each other to a certain extent. So we would all very much like to hear from you, where you are, what you do, what gets you up in the morning. So Keonis, can I come to you first?
Yes. I'm recently retired from the military. I was a soldier, American soldier. Been a lot of different places, of course, in a military uniform. But I've always been an artist, but now being retired, I'm able to spend a lot more time with art. I'm ready to practice art as a full-time job. So I do fine arts painting. I have a history of painting billboards, but I do portraits. But right now, I just want to focus on oil painting, creating large oil paintings, and working on exhibitions. And I consider myself a conceptual artist.
Great. And whereabouts are you based, Keonis?
I'm out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Great. Well, you're very welcome. I hope we'll be able to welcome you back again. It's been lovely to have you here. Thank you for sharing that. We're all going to rush into the chat now and see if there are links there to your work.
Yes, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Yes.
Great, excellent. And Jerry, where are you based?
Yeah, I'm based in Berlin, Germany.
In Benin?
Yeah, Berlin, Germany.
Oh, Berlin. I thought you said
Berlin. Yeah,
Berlin. Okay. My brother lives in Berlin at the moment. He's a cellist working there.
Oh.
And what do you
nice.
do, Jerry?
I'm an artist. I grew up loving artworks as a kid, and I then proceeded to and during my university days, I then decided to study architecture. So I studied architecture for my bachelor's in technology, and master's. I also have a master's in technology in architecture, and I also have a company who is also into architecture, renovation, and sales of home interior fittings. So in 2019, I decided to come to Berlin to study an MBA in specializing in project management. So at the moment, I am working for myself as a founder of 2 enterprises, one registered in Nigeria and one which is just began as a startup project. So that is what I do at the moment. I'm trying to take myself back to that fine art world, or the fine art world, where I'm trying to promote artists and their content on my social media platform, and also create a physical space where I can market and sell products for artists, international artists. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, more power to you and good luck with all of that. That sounds great. And you're incredibly highly qualified. I'm not qualified to do any of the things I do professionally at the moment, which is hilarious, but there you go. Good luck to you. Absolutely fantastic. Do please make sure that your contact details are in the chat if you get a chance, because
I already pasted my LinkedIn profile on the chat box already. Yeah.
Well, we'll hunt you down and stalk you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Kilner, would you like to remind us what gets you up in the morning?
Oh yes, well, I'm a night owl, so I don't wake up very early in the morning. But I'm an artist, so I paint, I illustrate, I use resin. So I like to combine sometimes 2 or 3, or a few of the things to create something new. So yeah, that's me. I joined my local arts society, so we have an open house coming up in June, so just preparing for that. And yeah, just yeah, that's me basically in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. I remember you mentioning the resin work before. So have you popped some details so that we can find out?
It's in
your on my
window.
LinkedIn. Yeah, and then that's my website there. And I actually would like to join as well. I know it's been a while, but I would like to join the network too.
Oh, that'd be great. We can have a longer chat. And
amazing.
One of the things I like to do, and when I'm not organizing 22,500 people, I run brand discovery workshops, and Jonathan's done one recently, and Matt's is doing one soon. It's I normally charge quite a lot for them if it's a multi-million-pound organization, but it's significantly reduced for members of our organization. And it's an opportunity to explore what makes you different, what makes you better, and what makes you remarkable, either as a person or an organization, so that you can be noticed, remembered, and talked about a bit more. I did a talk on this last time, I think, and the video is on the website if you want to have a look. But it's great. It's like a seance. Jonathan, how did you, I think we had a lot of fun doing that, didn't we?
Yeah, I've just put a note on the chat.
I don't want to speak for you, but I had a lot of fun.
No, I thought it was invaluable. It's really helpful to focus, distill the essence of what I can offer and who I want to. Very important, because on the face of it, I could say, well, I'm a marketing and communications consultant. Well, there's quite a few of those. Who do you do it for? What's your ideal customer, your ideal sector? What turns you on about it? What do you really offer that's going to distinguish you from the others and make you happy and fulfilled at the same time? So I'd highly recommend it. Yeah.
There are some, if you wanted to have a look, anybody, it's at markwormsley.co.uk, and there's some testimonial videos there as well, and it's great fun. I think with some of the time I come up with new names for businesses and projects, which are quite fun. I think my favorite one, and I probably told some of you this before, was I was challenged to come up with a new name for a florist's shop in a hospital. And after lying down in a dark room for about 4 hours, I shouted Eureka and came out and shouted out stem cell.
Very good.
Very good.
And I don't know where it came from, but in those brainstorm sort of exercises, it's amazing what comes out when people are. It's like a game of cerebral tennis, really, and one person triggers the next, and then there's a moment when you think, yes, that's what we'll do. We'll call it that. So there are some lovely company names out there, and there are some lovely strap lines as well. I think some of you probably heard this one. It was a camping store, like camping supplies. And their advert read, "Now is the discount of our winter tents." I thought it was lovely. And then there was a group of builders in Southall in Middlesex, which is a kind of Asian hub just outside London, which a great place. I used to live there. And there was a construction firm, and on the side of their van it said, "You've tried the cowboys, now try the Indians."
I've seen that one, yes.
Loved it. Anyway, it's now rapidly approaching far too long into the afternoon. We should all be back at work. I just want to say thank you to Lauren again. Thank you so much for doing that talk. Some lovely comments in the chat, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. If this is your first visit, Kaonis and Jerry, we're insisting that you come back next time, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All the meetings are free. The next one's on the 18th of May, and then after that, the 1st of June.
Yeah, like sorry.
Go on,
I
Jerry.
really love my first meeting with you guys. It was lovely and it was fun. Like, I've laughed like a lot today, so
Yeah,
that's quite
so,
refreshing.
It's been a good one when everyone's been laughing. It's fantastic. So all I have to do is to wish you happy Star Wars Day today.
And you too.
May the
4th of May today.
Thank you all so much, and see you again soon.
And you too. Bye.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, indeed.